Hi guys, this is a new conversation I have with Thomas from Golddust. We had a conversation before, a long one of a couple of hours. That was somewhere half a year ago or so, and it was very good. Yeah, here we are back today with lots of things that have happened in the meantime in the crypto market, and very happy to also do something around investing again because it's been a while. So thank you so much, Thomas, for reaching out.
Thanks very much for having me.
So yeah, where shall we start? Huh?
Yeah, probably with our chit chat. So long time no see. Also on your channel, long time you don't have published anything.
Yes.
Yeah, is there anything new? Anything you want to say, or any updates you want to give?
Yeah, so I've been absent, having some legal problems that really took all my energy, but things are improving, and so yeah, I feel that I'm starting to look again at the markets, and yeah, I'm very happy with that. But yeah, I had a very tough time over the past few months. And actually also in the markets, my portfolio has done poorly. But I've not really been very active with it. But for example, I had a short on gold. That's being okay, and it's a big exposure actually of 40% right now, because gold has been trending down slowly. But I also have been investing a lot in put options, and those have really costed me quite a lot. Actually, I lost 20% of my portfolio just in gold put options. So another lesson learned for me, how dangerous, well, it's not so dangerous actually, but how easily you lose money with this instrument. And yeah, yeah, I'm certainly stopping to invest more in that. So for me, the year has not been good. I lost some. I have a negative performance this year in 2021. And that's of course actually quite bad, because cryptocurrency has gone up this year, and that has been also my major position. But within the cryptocurrency, my cryptocurrency selections have also not done well. That's mainly Bitcoin Cash, who really has underperformed the market. And then I also have a large exposure to DPI, DeFi Pulse Index, and that's been doing okay, but actually not spectacular. For Ethereum, for example, has continued to outperform this, which was not within my expectation. I had thought that by the end of this year we would peak out actually, and at that time typically smaller projects pump a lot more than the bigger ones, but we clearly have not reached that stadium yet. And so yeah, that's the situation for myself. How have you been doing the past year with your portfolio?
Yeah, also the portfolio is, I don't have made the update right now, so I don't have the numbers right now, but I think I'm up a little. So also the coins that I've invested in February, I've also made I'm also making like the 10K crypto portfolio. So where I'm taking like 10,000 euros and then invested into crypto, and then every week I'm doing an update on this. And this is still, I think, 50, 60, 70%, something like this in the profit since February.
Nice.
But also that is like, most of it is because Ethereum is in it, and Fiat, so the video streaming token, and these two are probably the only ones that have a good performance. The other ones are also lagging, doing sideways moves, not, or have gone to the upside till May, and right now down, most of it sideways. So due to the reason that I have diversified more, I have also coins that are in the profit also this year. But of course, there are also lots of coins. I'm also holding Bitcoin Cash. That's of course doing a poor job right now in terms of performance. That's of course not very nice. But also I have seen a video from, I think it was blockchain baker. Normally I don't watch any YouTubers in terms of crypto. So your channel is the only one, I guess. Yeah, your channel is the only one. But I got this video recommended, and he's showing like the top 50 crypto project, and that was a point that I found really interesting, that there are just like 4 or 5 crypto projects that really have done a good performance. The rest is pretty much sideways or down and have like 10%, 20%, but not a very good performance at all. And that is a point that he points out, which is true and which I find very valuable, that right now everybody is saying, okay, why did I don't have the good coins in my portfolio? The rest of the market is pumping except mine, but like 90% of the market is not pumping or has not pumped. There are just several projects that have pumped already, and that of course then are also the projects, so from my perspective, that I'm not interested in right now. So right now I think the most interesting projects are the projects that are lagging behind. Bitcoin Cash, for example, is a good example, but there are several other cryptos that are also far away even from their May highs. So from the last high that we had in summer, some of them, Bitcoin Cash, for example, is much more away from its all-time high. So we not have seen an all-time high in these coins. And that is, I think, the interesting part. And that's also why I'm holding on to these cryptos. Right now, of course, I could say, okay, the performance this year is not the best. As I said, this year, overall, maybe like 20% or so, but I don't know exactly. I have to check the numbers and do the calculations, then I know it exactly. But that's still the reason why I'm still holding on to these coins, because I think that the market is still doing or will do well. Of course, right now it's not looking that good. But I think these coins that are lagging behind, and I have a lot of them in my portfolio, that the money will also flow into them before this cycle will end. And that is, yeah, I think that is the big opportunity right here. And also I have a question, the legal problems that you have mentioned, is it like with the money laundering video that you have uploaded?
Yes, indeed. Problems in Kenya. I had made some gifts to my girlfriends, and over the years, and that always went well, bank gifts. But suddenly, yeah, the last one I did cost me lots of trouble. Of course, the tax authorities had some questions. That's normal, and that has happened in the past. But then I just explain it's a gift, and my girlfriend explains it, and it's a real relationship. We can prove that we have children together, so it makes sense. And there is no taxes on gifts in Kenya, but now, yeah, it just has gone crazy, and okay, the taxes we can just that's not a problem. We negotiate with them, but then there is also police that was involved, and making false accusations, and being very aggressive about it, and not following protocols, and really going out of the book. And yeah, it's been really very, very disturbing for myself and my family. And yeah, our lawyers are dealing with it, but I don't wish that to anyone. It's really very scary and very upsetting. So yeah, it has really taken all my attention the past few months, and I was not able to do my work because of it. Following up the markets, for example, like Bitcoin Cash, for example, which is a project that I hold dear to my heart, but I was not able to follow it up, even let alone be active in it and build. So the biggest question when you look at these investments that do poorly compared to some of its competitors is always like, are the fundamentals good still? Because if that's the case, then there is no need to worry. And I can't really give an opinion today on Bitcoin Cash because I have not been able to study it the past 3 months, whether the fundamentals are good. So that's the important thing that I will do next. But actually my role has a bit changed from being a passive investor to being much more actively involved and making many seed investments in the Bitcoin Cash world. I'm really trying to also make it happen that way. So yeah, I have to catch up on that. But I found it very interesting what you said, that actually there's not many projects that have outperformed the market, because I didn't even know that, having been absent. The only thing I saw was from time to time CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko that I'm using these days, because CoinMarketCap is now owned by Binance. But the CoinGecko, and so I see that the ranking of Bitcoin Cash is going lower and lower. It used to be top 5, then was top 10, top 20, and now we're at the spot 24. And that's of course something I really did not predict and was really wrong in my market calls there. I called at the bottom a couple of times, but it just kept sinking in market ranking. So my impression was that actually many more projects were doing well. But from what you say, I do believe you. That is correct. And of course, it's easy to lose ranking because it's a combination of some projects doing very well and going into the top 10, while your own project is just underperforming even some average performance, and that's how you quickly can lose ranking. But this actually really reminds me of the middle of 2017, where actually the same happened. It was a sideways market. First, Bitcoin BTC had pumped a lot early 2017, and actually many altcoins also, and that was new because that didn't really happen in the cycle before in 2013. The altcoins only pumped right at the end in 2013, the last month. But before that, they were just poor performers. The whole year of 2013, when Bitcoin went from $10 to $1,000, it was only the last month that really these altcoins that they were called at the time, that were Litecoin, Peercoin, Namecoin, like the first altcoins, really, they only performed at the end of the market. Whereas in 2017, actually they performed the first wave very strong, early 2017. But what happened then was that actually there was like a 3 to 6 month period in the middle of 2017 when the market went sideways. But what happened was that the cryptos, because you can't call them altcoins anymore, that all the other cryptos really went down, whereas BTC, the lead crypto, did not. And even I went to sideways somewhat, but then started rebuilding, while many of the other cryptos dropped considerably again versus BTC, whereas in the early part of the year, they went up a lot versus BTC. And that was, of course, also very discouraging for many cryptocurrency investors and caused lots of doubt in the market. But then once the total market cap breached again towards the end of the year its all-time high from the early in the year of 2017, then the bull market was back on, and then all these cryptos came back versus BTC and made new all-time highs, many of them versus BTC. And it's my impression that something similar is happening this cycle, but not versus BTC, but versus Ethereum. And Ethereum is really a very, very strong performer up until now, and most people regret selling any Ethereum for any other coins up until today. That's me included. But yeah, the dealings are not done. It really looks like we're in the middle of the cycle. I had expected once we breach the all-time high that the same would happen as in previous cycles, and now the all-time high was 800. Well, no, it was not 800 billion. We pumped from basically we breached that. That was the previous all-time high. We went to 1.5 trillion, but then we corrected, and what happened then was that we breached that again. That 1.5 trillion was it early this year, and then I thought, like, okay, the moment that happens, that means that the doubting period is over, and we're going to shoot very quickly now to the all-time high of likely around 7 trillion or so. But that didn't happen, to my surprise. Instead, we went up to about 2.5 trillion, and then we went sideways again. And so I think my initial predictions were right, but I changed them later on. My initial prediction for the third cycle that we're in was that it will move slower and it will go up less. And I had initially made predictions of a much longer cycle that would go up a lot less. But then I changed my estimations once the all-time high was breached, first of 800 billion and then again of 1.5 trillion, thinking that the market then it would go a lot faster again. But yeah, that just doesn't happen, and that's okay. If you're just a buy and hold investor, then time is on your side, and you don't really you can hold these positions if you're not leveraged, and you have the waiting game, and that's what I do also right now. Like, okay, yeah, it sucks, Bitcoin Cash has been underperforming, but chances are still high. And that's even when it's if it would be a shitcoin, and even if fundamentals would indeed have worsened a lot, then still the chance is high, if you look at previous cycles, that even the shitcoins will pump a lot towards the end. I learned this the hard way, for example, with NXT at the time, that I was flipped or rebranded into Ardor. I sold that project believing the fundamentals had worsened, and that was true. It was also top 5 coin that then continued to lose ranking due to bad management. And of course, many new projects coming on the market. And I ended up selling that project also around, well, I bought a lot of it during the bear market starting in 2014 and in 2015, but I had lost so much opportunity due to this project because it kept sinking while other projects start to recover and boom again, that I decided to sell it all towards the end of 2015, early 2016. And later, even that project did 100x. And so by simply holding it, I would have actually done better than flipping to quality projects that I did. So, of course, cycles change, patterns change, but I think I mean, and this pattern may change. Like I think the market has changed. What I think is that we actually have a very different climate today, where actually it is possible that the other cryptocurrency projects do poorly, and that the new altcoins are not different cryptos, but it is different protocols built on top of the main cryptos, and that's especially then DeFi protocols, and you have also NFT now that I'm totally out of touch with. I don't even know what's going on there, but these are projects basically built on top of the leaders, and that's Ethereum mainly. And I think that still has a very high chance of pumping a lot towards the end of this cycle. However, for the other cryptos, I'm not so sure about including Bitcoin Cash, because the market has changed, and it's possible that the leaders have been chosen, and that only these will succeed in building a strong base where a lot is built on top of it. And so Bitcoin Cash may have lost that war to become a platform. Basically, it's either you're a platform or you're nothing, and there is no room anymore for just being your own crypto independent cryptocurrency and doing it all on your own. You either build on top of the winners or you're out. Is my impression where the market is. What do you think?
But is it then also, I agree mostly. So first, I've also made the change from Ethereum into Bitcoin Cash just like 3 days ago or so, because I had like Ethereum, I bought it in March 2020, and I got in at $110, and right now I just saw the valuation. As I said, Ethereum has performed very well compared to other coins like Bitcoin Cash. So I've decided for Bitcoin Cash, and I've swapped my Ethereum. For me, it's also important that it's tax-free, and because there's like, if you hold here in Germany, if you hold it for 1 year, then it's tax-free. And when you yeah, when you hold it for 1 year, it's tax-free, and I hold it over 1 year, and now it's tax-free. But if I'm swapping it to Bitcoin Cash, I very likely this. So from my personal view, of course, my highest guess was that we are peaking out at the end of the year, but right now it is much more likely that this not happens. But I would still expect that right now. So as I said, I have switched it like 3 days ago, that this position will not become tax-free, and I will not hold it 1 year, because I think it is the most likely that this bull run will not last another year. And that is why I then also have to decide, okay, will the project that I'm putting my new money in, so the Ethereum money in, will it outperform Ethereum by the amount of taxes I have to pay? And I think, so as I said, I have decided to do that with Bitcoin Cash. And I think there is a high chance that this project will, or that BCH will outperform Ethereum by the amount of taxes and even more. So I think there is a high chance, if I'm just taking a look into the Ethereum potential future performance. So I have the target of like 11K, that Ethereum could reach 11K, which is a little bit more than double right now. I think right now it's fallen below 4,000, but when I switched it was 4,100 or so. So that's like 100 something percentages. And if I'm taking a look into Bitcoin Cash and just take a look into the May high, I already have like 250% or something like this. And that is not even the all-time high. And also including that Bitcoin Cash has not performed yet. And we also see that, so what basically you have said, that we are seeing that in the very end of the cycle, that these coins are performing very well. We have also seen that in April and May. So in April, or till April, Bitcoin Cash also has not done very much, but Bitcoin, for example, so BTC has already peaked, and then the altcoins have started to go up. I think Ethereum in that time has doubled, Bitcoin Cash has tripled in that time, and I think that is also likely to happen again, also for Bitcoin Cash, but also for like the shitcoin projects, the low market cap ranks project, of course, also the NFT project. I think also there is much more to come in these sectors, but I think also like the general market, I think will increase a lot, especially the coins that have not pumped yet. And yeah, so from this perspective, I agree with you. And I also remember like in 2017 that we had this first run up also in summer. Then we had some consolidation, sideways movements. And then in the end of the year, it started and going crazy. What was also my guess, that when we are going back up again, making new all-time high, that then we are really starting the parabolic price increases. We have not done this. And also if we compare it to 2017, so I don't have the numbers right now, but from my memory, I can't remember that we did like an 80% drop or something like this. I remember like 40-50% in altcoins, which is a normal number if you're taking a look into the historical data, but not like the 80% that we have seen in May, and also like such a long period of time where we are basically not doing very much. Yeah, so that's my point on this. So in general, I agree. And I think also the point what you have pointed out, so that we will also see a lot of projects that don't have great fundamentals that will perform very well, but just for a very short period of time. And then after we have done this and after the cycle is finished, of course, it is the most likely that these projects then will decrease by 99 or 98%, something like this.
Yeah, and it's always also interesting to look at the different indicators. You have that famous CBBI index. I really like that one. it takes lots of different indicators and makes puts a number on it, and it looks like it's on the low end also right now. That the market is certainly not euphoric or overvalued, but that it is really far away from its potential peak. But you also have that buyers index. Maybe we can take a look at that also, because it's also showing really that the market is very bearish right now. Let's take a look at that. Eh? So yeah, maybe you can comment a bit on it. Huh?
Yeah, so that is a self-developed indicator. So me and a buddy of mine have developed this in the bear market. So that's also why this is just going back to 2019. And that is basically showing how many buyers are in the market. And of course, if there are too many buyers, I've also marked it right here. You can see it with the red line, where also the D is.
Yeah.
When we get above these, yeah, exactly this line. When we get above these dangerous levels, then this is a warning signal to us, because then too many buyers are in the market and a potential big correction is going to happen. And that is what we can also see with this index. Of course, we can also see the very low levels. So I have also marked some points in that picture. So you can see, for example, the number one, that is in February 2020, so right before the COVID crash. You can see it's above the red line, it's in the dangerous levels. And then we have the two, that is after the COVID crash, so that is in March 2020, and that was also then, of course, a very big buying signal for me, and that's the point where I've entered the market. Then we have the number three. The number three is in October and November 2020. We not had a very big crash back then, but we had a market stage where Bitcoin, so BTC, was I think at 12K and dropped to 9K, and then we also did 1 month of sideways, and that was still a market stage where not very many people were sideways move. Yeah, and this sideways move had enough power to kick out all the buyers again that have joined in that period. So from March 2020 till I think it was September, and from September till October, the buyer index has dropped again. And then at this point, that was also a stacking up point for me. So where I've increased my positions. And from this point, we started the big price increases that has happened from basically October, November till April. And that is also the number four. So the number four is in April. There we had the warning signals. I think it is one warning signal was in the beginning of April and one in the middle. And then in May, we crashed down all the way back down. So BTC from 64K to 30K, bringing the buyer index back to the number 5. So again, very low levels. Then we have increased again. And right now we have even managed to make a new all-time low. So that is the number 6. So that is where we are currently at. And just a couple of days ago, we made a new all-time low indicator. So what that basically means is that right now there are very buyers in the market. There is also a lot of fear in the market. There is depression. There is not much going on in the market. And the buyer index is pretty much showing that. So the buyer index is pretty much showing that not very many people are in this market right now. Not very many people are interested in this market right now. And that pretty much reminds me of the situation that we had back in March 2020. So there also the buyer index showed extreme bullishness because there are just very few people in the market, and the sentiment, the overall sentiment is very bad. The people were not believing in this market, and even if the market has gone back to the upside, it was just like, yeah, probably that will just be a pullback. But then the market just continues to go up and up. Then I also remember at that point, so where we were like in September, so where the buyer index is between the 2 and the 3, that there was also then lots of people have talked about like a retest of the old lows. And I think it was also majority of people, and we not have done this. And yeah, that's basically what the buyer index is showing. So that is showing that there are very few buyers in the market, which is a very bullish sign, and that the general market opinion is bearish. There is fear in the market. The general sentiment is bad. That is giving also for me another confirmation signal. So you guys know that the majority of people will not be right in this market. The majority of people will be wrong. And that is exactly what we can see right now. So the majority of people is bearish right now. And this index is showing the exact opposite. This index is showing extreme bullishness. And so far in this cycle, it has worked out very well. So you can see 5 signals were right now. So first, the 1 in February, the 2 in March, the 3 in October and November 2020. Then the warning signal, the number 4 in April was also right. The number 5, which was basically the 30K bottom that we have seen after this big move to the downside. And right now it's the number 6. Of course, very interesting to see if it will hit the 6 out of 6 predictions right. But what we have seen so far, this index has done a very good job. And I'm confident that the number 6 will also work out and that we will see another major run up in the crypto market.
Very interesting, Thomas. That's very interesting. So how do you measure that there are lots of buyers in the market or there are few buyers in the market?
Yeah, that's of course the secret behind this indicator.
I know, but we're gonna keep on pushing for that one. Give us the secret sauce.
Probably when we are in Amsterdam and yeah, you know.
Okay. Yeah, but that's of course a trade secret. That's okay. But of course, have to be careful that it's not back composed. It could also be you have people in the market that just indicators. You can always find indicators that worked in the past, but they are basically, how do you call that? Like when the moving average crosses the 50-day, crosses the 200-day, that's a bullish signal.
The death cross. The death cross? You mean the death cross?
Yeah. But you can always find indicators that worked in the past and then say like, okay, that's going to work in the future. But it doesn't, because it's just coincidence that it worked in the past. And so for example, when the 50-day crosses the 200-day is always a good sign. Because it worked in the past in this market. But then, I mean, you can always find one that worked in the past, but that doesn't mean it works in the future. So that's why I also asked this question: how do you measure that there are lots of buyers in the market? Because if it makes sense, the way you measure that, then the whole indicator also makes sense. But if it doesn't make sense, then, well, it may stop working also in the future.
Yeah, but the special thing is, of course, I totally agree to what you have just said. So that's also like the problem with technical analysis. You can always find something that has applied in the past and maybe also is looking like the same, but it's working out a complete different way. So yeah, you can always find something like this. You can put the moving average on any number you want, like 150, 23, what number you want, and then at some point you can say, yeah, if I'm putting this on 77, this has worked out perfectly, and it looks like really much like right now. Of course, there is this thing in the market that you can make up basically everything. But I'm also sharing this indicator right now. Also, when the people are very interested, I'm sharing this on a daily basis on my Patreon account, and also from time to time. So when I'm making a new YouTube video, then I also share it right there. So I have shared it from March 2020 till now. And so far it has worked out. Of course, that is not a guarantee that that this will work out in the future, but I think we have good chances that this will work out again. And but there is not just the buyer index that is giving me like this confidence in the market. So I think that you can agree that we are still in the bull market and that we will likely see new highs and price increases in these coins we have just talked about. And there are also other indicators that have pointed it out. And for example, like you've mentioned, the CBBI has not showed these. I think in the past, they always reach the 100 level when BTC has peaked. But then, of course, there are also other indicators, just simple indicators that I'm taking a look at. And that is, for example, the Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin dominance in every cycle has made a new low. We have not seen that so far, which is a very important point because it is obvious that BTC is losing market share over time, and in every bull cycle, BTC is losing its market share. Then in the bear market, it gains that back, but not all of it. And then so the Bitcoin dominance is in a bearish trend. And as I said, we have not seen a Bitcoin dominance low, which would be very likely. But as I said, or as I said with the video that I've pointed out to, that the majority of coins have not pumped so far. So the biggest gainers is BTC, Ethereum, and 3 or 4 others or a couple of others in the top 50. And that's also why we not have seen this, that the Bitcoin dominance has made a new low. Also, the Ethereum dominance is pretty high right now. Then also we can see it in your charts, in the Trololo charts, that we have reached overvaluation, but not extreme overvaluation. So we not have reached the overvaluation targets. Then also I think it is now I lost the point. So we got the Bitcoin dominance, we got the overvaluation targets, and also with the overvaluation targets, like the market dominance targets. So 800 billion was the previous high. Now we got to 2.5, 2.6. But I think that is, of course, it is a big increase, but it's not as big as it should be. And there are, of course, other factors, but that are the most important ones. So buyer index, Bitcoin dominance also not reached the overvaluation targets and not reached and not got close also in the market cap where we should go. And then also with this, where we are in this topic, also with the when we are peaking out. So I've also said that for me the most likely was that we are peaking out somewhere around the end of the year. But from the current viewpoint, it looks like that we are going further in time and extending this bull run to when it will be, we don't know that, but it very likely will be extended. And also with this extension, do you have adjusted your targets for the market cap and also for Bitcoin Cash, so the price target and market cap target?
I have not changed that. No, actually I haven't studied it. No, I have to update also the chart that I'm keeping myself. But there is someone else that's also keeping track of it. Maybe I can show that shortly. Okay, so we were talking about, I think you were talking about the dominance index. No, I was talking about the Trololo chart. So someone else also keeping track of it in this website here, aasasoft.org. You can find the link in my Google sheet about the Trololo chart. So this is where we are right now. 2.1 trillion market cap, and the logarithmic regression is standing at 1.2, so it's about 100% overvaluation. But yeah, it will go likely to 800% or so to this green line here somewhere in the future, just like it did in the past during every bull run. But of course, it always goes a little bit lower. So you can see it always get higher, a little bit less high, peaking out above that green line. So it may actually only reach the green line this time and not go above it. but that's still an expected valuation. If it would happen today, that would be around 8 trillion. If it would happen in half a year, that would be around, what does it say here? It's not popping up. 13 trillion if it would happen in 1 year. If it would happen today, it's 8 trillion. So actually your estimate, you said like, no, it's more like 10 trillion that you thought. Yeah, that would indeed be the case also if it would happen in half a year from now. That's also according to the Trololo chart, the estimated high. So then we had some, and of course, like, once you go above we're clearly in a bull run now. We breached the all-time high of previous 800 billion. We had strong correction, but we never went below 1.4 or 1.2 trillion. And so we haven't, we're still in a bull market. We made a new all-time high recently, actually a month ago, where it was 2.5 trillion before. We went to 2.8 trillion only a month ago. So we're clearly still in a bull market, and so it's not likely, as some people think that follow my word. For example, there's a David. He thinks it's likely we go back into undervaluation before we set the high, the all-time high. But I really don't think that's likely, or that this bull run would be over like that. Everything is possible, but we have to look at the probabilities. It's not probable, and it's also not probable that we would go first in undervaluation again, and to go to depressed levels pretty much before we would set the all-time high, the top, before we would set the top in this bull run, because that never happened in the past, that you would go below the logarithmic trend line during a bull market. Yeah, of course, in the beginning here it happened a bit, but yeah, that's not really representative. But like the first bubble in 2013, yeah, it played with that number, but it never went below it. The second bubble in 2017, yeah, it played with that number, we were never below it. And the same happened today. It played with that number, never went below it. And it's only once that it played with that number, and it pretty much already happened. So no, from this, it looks like, yeah, we're still clearly in a bull run. It's not likely to go back to the logarithmic regression, which stands at 1.2 trillion right now. It's much more likely that we continue trending up and that we go parabolic sooner or later, as it always happened in the past. But indeed, if you look at the other indicators that you mentioned, which is the BTC dominance, indeed no all-time low was set, and this is a chart that goes back to, when is that? Oh, that's not going.
Probably can also, I think you can probably also zoom out. Yeah.
Yeah. So since 2014 now, the whole crypto cycle, well, yeah, it started in 2009, but BTC was the dominant crypto up until 2016. It's only 2017 that actually the other coins started to play, and that BTC lost lots of lots of market dominance, went from 90% to in 1 year to 40% dominance, and that was the top also of the 2017 bull run. Then the bear market gained some, but then you have the bull market. Actually, the bear market is only 1 year. But from 2018, sorry, the whole year of 2018 was a bear market, and by the end of the year it had recovered, and the low was set also. But then you have a bull market starting. But even during the early bull market, it's typical that BTC gains dominance still. That also happened. It went back first to 50% and then to 70%, and then the early bull market. But then you have the second stage of the bull market. That's basically when the all-time high is breached again of 800 billion. And when everybody knows that, yeah, we're for sure in a bull market, BTC has lost again the ranking from 70% to 40%. But indeed, it didn't reach an all-time low, as you point out, which should, yeah, it's very likely to happen in this bull run.
Yes. Yeah, and also, so what we can see right now is that it's on the edge of going below the 40% mark, which it has touched, I think, 3 times this cycle right now. And then the all-time low is also not that far away, I think at 37 or something like this. And yeah, I think also once we have breaken the old all-time low, then we will also see more losses in the Bitcoin dominance. So doing like the second wave that we have also done in 2017. So we already had the first wave. Of course, right now, Ethereum has also 20% of market dominance. So that's also a very big player. This, I think that's also likely that this will also lose some market dominance over time. And yeah, also if we are just taking a look into the historical data, I have also pointed out that probably we will see like between 15 to 20% Bitcoin dominance in the cycle.
Yeah.
And if we are also taking into account that Ethereum will also lose some of its gained dominance, and that is flowing into the other cryptos, plus we will also have a market cap increase. That is a very bullish sign for me. And then also buyer index is a very bullish sign. The overvaluation chart is a very bullish sign that the market
Wait,
in
let's
general
go
right
to
now
the other ones a little bit later. I just popped up Ethereum here, dominance since 2017. And indeed, right now we're at 20%. That's indeed very high. Initially, my estimation was also that it would peak out at 20% dominance, Ethereum, which would be just basically keeping its previous dominance in the previous cycle intact, which is very, very bullish to assume, because most cryptos will totally fail in that to have the same dominance the next cycle than the previous one, because there are so many new players. But I thought I made an exception actually for Ethereum because it just continued to have such strong fundamentals and the network effect to its advantage. I also did the same, assumed the same for Bitcoin Cash, but that would mean it should go back to 10% market dominance, which is at this point very unlikely to happen. But Ethereum did succeed already in that. So interesting, yeah. But indeed, like there is not much more potential here. You cannot expect Ethereum to reach the same, even higher market dominance this cycle and previous cycle. That's really, I mean, that's really a very, it's possible but not probable. So indeed, from this perspective, Ethereum is something to diversify out of into other cryptos. So from that perspective, you did the right move, huh?
Yeah, but I also thought that so I was expecting 20% for Ethereum, but I was expecting it in a different way. So I was expecting that it will reach that at the peak of the cycle. But right now, as we are already there at the 20% market dominance in Ethereum, I think, yeah, the most likely, as you said, is that it will go down. And that also I have switched the coins to Bitcoin Cash, and why I got out of Ethereum right now.
Yeah, probably a good move, a courageous move, difficult to do right now because everybody's sitting on losses versus Ethereum, and the more you pile them up, the less you want to sell it. So I think courageous. I did this move way too early. And timing is everything in the market, and you might probably have done the timing a lot better here. Let's look at the other indexes that you were bringing up.
I think we also have the Fear and Greed Index.
Yeah, let's take a look at that, because it's very related to actually your readings with the buyer index. Actually, you have an all-time low with the buyers index, but crypto and fear it also goes back to 2018 as the start of the bear market. Lots of fear here, the start, and then we have the that's the end of the bear market in the end of the year 2018. We have the start of the bull market in 2019. Okay, yeah, greed goes up, but indeed it's a choppy this bull market. And a lot of fear comes back often, greed comes back often. But now we're clearly in a fear period. We're at 21. It's not an all-time low, but between 10 and 20 are the lows, have always been the lows, and that's where we are again. Huh?
And that's also another reason why I also think that it is more, of course, we said everything is possible, but I think it's not probable that we are going more to the downside right now or going into bear market, because there is already this extreme fear and bad sentiment in the market. And that is, of course, fear and greed index is always the opposite. So that's also speaking for a bullish trend.
Indeed. Well, right now we're at 21 reading. Extreme fear is what they call this, huh? Yesterday, but yesterday it was 28, and that's just fear. But 21 is extreme fear, and indeed, to be bearish at such points is not wise, especially not if you're clearly still in a bull market.
Yes, I agree to that.
Then we have here also the CBBI from Colin Talks Crypto, a very great YouTube channel who has put lots of work in this indicator. Oh, I want to ask the buyers index. Is it just analyzing buyers in the BTC cryptocurrency or also others? Is it?
No, it's in the general crypto market.
That's
of course good. BTC has a big role in it because BTC is the leader. But that's of course also changing when the crypto market is changing.
Yeah, I think that's really a big plus because, for example, the crypto fear and greed index. Do you know, is this based on readings from only the BTC community, or is it from the total crypto market?
I think it is from the total crypto market. But they're also writing that. But I think like also 70%, 75% or so is just based on price movements, volatility, and volume. But I think it is for the whole crypto market.
Yeah, so that's great. I like that. That's the one minus I would say about the CBBI is that he has all indicators are only analyzing the BTC, and I think that's really not good, huh? But that's the only critique I can give to him, because all the other because actually they are very good indicators, all of them. He has listed here. So for example, for Bitcoin, he uses the Bitcoin Trololo trend line. So he could easily take the total crypto Trololo trend line, which I'm publishing, and some others, but still he's taking the BTC Trololo trend line, and that's a pity. I think Bitcoin maximalism is bad, but it's especially bad for if you're gonna put all your indicators on top of that, because Bitcoin BTC is losing market share clearly, is managed poorly, and to assume that past trends will continue into the future is dangerous. However, if you apply that to the total crypto market cap, then you're fine. Of course, it's likely that past trends in the crypto market will continue in the future because it's not a single project that's mismanaged. So I really hope that he changes that. I think the value of this indicator will go up. But other than that, go ahead.
But I think also like the other indicators that he has put in, I don't know if they are available for the total crypto market. But of course, that's also the thing, that this is just analyzing the Bitcoin price. But even this indicator is not pointing out that we have peaked. No,
but the danger is, of course, if you're picking one coin, it might be a big coin, but if it's managed poorly, if it's underperforming the markets, if it's losing a market share, then of course, if you have there a reading that says, look, if you look at past cycles, it's not hit the likely top yet. But that's not so valuable if you're talking about a project that's mismanaged and that is losing market share. Even if you assume a collapsing market share, at which he does, he assumes that the trends of the past continues into the future. But that's still dangerous for a project that's mismanaged, because it can also certainly break the pattern and really go straight down. That's possible. as you have seen in the past with projects and companies that are based on network effects. Once you reach a certain tipping point, then suddenly it can go very fast, that the project collapses much faster than the trend has shown in the past. For example, if you look at companies like social networks, you have these older social networks that what's the name of them? That actually,
You mean like,
yeah.
what I was thinking about AOL, but that's that was not the social network, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot the name, but there's a social network before Facebook, and that was very popular.
What was it? MySpace?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, MySpace.
Yeah.
Like I did not see those charts, but I think that likely happened there, that you had also a tipping point. For example, you also see it with cell phones, like with BlackBerry. You have a tipping point where suddenly the collapse goes a lot faster than before. So I think that's the danger here, and so it's true that many indicators you don't have that for the total coin market cap, but for example, you have one that I'm publishing, which is the Trololo trend line that you have, and actually he has actually started with that, but then over time he has only focused on Bitcoin. But I've given him this critique, and he has not taken it too hard yet. I hope he does in the future. But very, very good work still.
But did you then change something in your portfolio in that time? I guess not, right?
What do you mean, like the last 3 months or 6 months, or?
Yeah.
So the only move I did was actually 3 months ago, was that there was a fork coin of Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, the eCash.
Yeah, eCash, and so that actually pumped a lot, and I was able to sell it when it had pumped a lot, and that added like, and then I flipped it for basically a DPI, and so I was able to double my DPI position from 10 to 20% or so exposure, and that's how I also have a large DPI exposure that I'm very happy with, and that's my backup in the case Bitcoin Cash would fail to pump. Then I think my DPI will still very likely perform. Here also I want to show this the Trololo trend line of the total crypto market cap, and if you look at the valuation above and under the trend line, it's actually quite wow. Like we're not even close to a top. You can see previous bubbles, we went to 1,700% overvaluation, 1,000% overvaluation in 2013, 800% overvaluation here in 2018. Like very likely overvaluation. If you look at this trend here, it should be around 400% or 500%. But we're not even close right now. We're like at just at 70%. So there's lots of upward potential here now.
Yeah, totally agree on that. But assuming you would not be, I know you are going with the Kelly criteria, so that is not allowing you to invest more in crypto.
Yeah.
But if you would not be in crypto right now, would you still invest?
That's the problem with such a question is that it's really not a question I've asked myself and I've not studied. And because you're right, I'm at 80 or 90% exposure of crypto, especially because my non-crypto investments have done so poorly, losing a lot in my options. And so while crypto has gone up, and so actually I used to be not so long ago actually at the majority exposure non-crypto, 50% plus, just simply because of the movements of these two investments. I'm not now. I was only at 40% exposure crypto. Now I'm at 90% exposure crypto, and so from a balancing perspective, I should sell some crypto and invest in non-crypto markets. But one thing I've really learned only the past year really is to like selling your winners is not smart. and then, but you have to apply it to individual picks, not to the total market. Like if the total market shows clearly overvaluation and bubble territory and euphoria, yes, you should sell everything, your winners, your losers, and try to and get back into the overall market when there are depressed levels. But when it comes to single selections, like I've lost so much opportunity by selling winners and buying losers, and that's something I'm going to stop doing.
Yeah.
And so and so, for example, like what I should have done during this cycle, yeah, I did my timing very well to get into crypto several times when it was depressed and being able to flip from the other markets into crypto. But what I did very poorly was selling my winners way too soon, like Ethereum, and buying more of my losers, like Bitcoin Cash. Has costed me a fortune and lost opportunity, and the same happened in the past. Selling my winners, and it's like it happens so many times. Like selling my winners, for example, my options during in 2020 for then losers such as oil tankers. It was a gigantic loss in opportunity, and it's really it's not even funny to look at the numbers. Huh? We're talking about 100x here differences. Huh? And for decent big exposures of my portfolio, not just a 1% exposure, like a 10-20% exposure, making 100x on that or nothing is a gigantic difference in your total performance. Yeah, I also did it often in the crypto markets in the bubble of 2017. Well, actually, the biggest mistake was not making certain investments, and I'm still making that mistake today. Like I'm not investing in the crypto markets. Yeah, I make some seed investments into Bitcoin Cash companies, but I'm not investing in any smaller projects or even medium projects. I just have some big projects. So I've been totally absent there, and I realized that, like I'm becoming an old investor here. And a lazy investor, and thereby also an underperformer. I realize that, and I'm not even capable of doing it because I have too much to do. But what I should do is outsource these things to people that do it, like yourself, for example, and many younger investors who take the time to study the market and invest in smaller potential projects. That's my biggest mistake, actually, that I did in previous cycles, missing lots of opportunity. But selling winners for losers is another big mistake I've made, and so. Yeah, that's the lessons that I've learned lately.
Yeah, but I think that's some lessons everybody has to do. So like with the timing, that just happens. So sometimes I'm also off with the timing, sometimes you are on point. That's also something you never know, because timing is the most difficult thing to do it right. But of course, if you just can't time it, what is also of course easier said than done. If you can time it to enter at extreme undervaluation and go out just by overvaluation or extreme overvaluation, you should also already make a very big profit. And then of course, if you're doing this switching, like Ethereum in Bitcoin Cash or eCash in DPI, that's of course a bonus on top.
But my strength has come from investing at the right time, estimating at the right time the overall market. My strength has not come from individual selections, and my performance has not come from there. So I hope that I improve that. Yeah.
When you would judge the current market situation, so for me it is really like, yeah, back in March 2020, so when we had really rough times and really hard times with a lot of depression in the market, but actually the market data are looking pretty good. And I think that is that is the hard part right now. So where I also see lots of people, probably you also get that, you get like the messages from your subscribers and questions under your YouTube videos and so on, where people like, I can take it anymore, I don't have the patience, I think this will go lower, I'm selling, I'm out of the market. So we can clearly see that for me, so that this is going on, and that this extreme bullishness and this euphoria about crypto is not there right now, while the numbers are, so if it just indicators that we have taken a look at, pointing out that it is the most likely, or it's the most probable thing, that we are doing a great performance. And I'm also seeing that by myself. So when we have made the drop from, what was it, like 54K in BTC to 42K or so. So that was also surprisingly for me. And also when you see that, of course, your emotions say, yeah, that's pretty fucked up. But then you have to take a look into the rational side. And when you see it with the rational side, you see the numbers, you see the market data, you see the sentiment, and then you can clearly see that is the most probable and the best to stay in this market right now, and not sell probably with a bad performance, or maybe a loss, of course, depending on when your last entry was. Yeah, but that's pretty much a thing that I can see. And also something that I can also see right now is, for example, if I would take a look at certain times, if I would have invested in BTC, then right now I would have more, because BTC during the whole bull market has performed better than, for example, Bitcoin Cash, or for example, other coins that I have in my portfolio, like REN, for example, which is a DeFi project. Of course, I have also some outperformers, but if I would take the whole number, then right now BTC is at where I would say, okay, BTC would be a better investment in terms of the percentage gains that I've made. But I remember that back in 2017, I also had the same. So in 2017, and in the summer, so I was also cashing out before that crash that we had, where BTC went from, I think, 5K to 3K, and then bought back in. And at a certain point I was thinking like, okay, if I would have kept BTC, I would have a better performance. But at the very end, that is going, or that has changed dramatically, and BTC was not the best investment. And yeah, then of course I made the mistake to just cash out like 30 or 40%, something like this. And then of course during the bear market, it is not the best to hold any other crypto, or in general it's not good to hold any crypto. And that's also an interesting question, when we can see that we are clearly at overvaluations, and let's say basically the indicators that we have just pointed out. So CBBI is pointing out that we have seen the peak, the buyer index is showing the dangerous levels, we have a new low in the Bitcoin dominance. So all the signs are there, we are in the overvaluation targets. So pretty much all the signs are there. Would you consider shorting crypto?
Yeah. I first want to answer your other question, because I think it's even more important, and I didn't do that right. So you asked me like Kelly Criterion does not allow you to sell crypto right now, and that's correct. Like the Kelly Criterion is meant to tell you how much should you allocate when you make the investment. But if you then want to achieve that 100x, you cannot sell it. And so if it goes 10x, you cannot just like sell it because that's not what the Kelly Criterion is about. You're not making an investment there. You're deciding about, should I sell an investment that has gone well? Well, the answer to that question is no. You should keep your winners, and you should only sell your losers for new investments. That's a mistake I made plenty in the past. And so when it comes to the overall market, yeah, crypto is my winner. It has gone to 90%. Should you sell it? Well, no, for non-crypto related investments, because it's your winner. But of course, you should look at all the indicators. Like there is a time to sell a winner, and that's when it's seriously overvalued, which is clearly not the case for cryptocurrency right now at a 70% valuation versus the trend line. And all the other indicators indeed that we saw that no, this is not likely. It's not overvalued. Yeah, it's only a little bit overvalued. Likely will go a lot higher overvaluation. And if you also look at the global picture here, important, of course, like is cryptocurrency in general still doing well? If you look at the world economy, yes, like there is really a need for a hard currency, for a fast and digital currency with little regulations. The need just becomes higher with little inflation, where private people are managing currencies from a profit incentive instead of governments. So clearly the crypto, there is a big need for it, and it's also not being attacked by its biggest competitors, which is fiat currencies. They are not really busy attacking it, though they are regulating it a lot and thereby slowing its growth. That's true, but overall, it's certainly not enough to stifle its growth. Given the high need for it by people, because economies are damaged a lot by the latest by the pandemic, and like people need to make money, and they want to produce, they want to live and thrive, and procreate, and for that you need money or have a good life. And so people are looking for ways, and of course if you have lots of regulations and sanctions and things that make people to not be able to be productive and live free, they will look for other ways, and cryptocurrency is certainly one of the outlets for people. So like it's still lots of potential, and so from a fundamental perspective, cryptocurrency market is still in high need. From a technical analysis perspective and looking at the different indicators, is clearly not a time to sell yet. So no, cannot sell crypto for other investments right now. But indeed, within the crypto market, there is clearly patterns where bigger coins pump first, and then the smaller coins pump last. And if you can play that, you can increase your profits within crypto, and that's certainly important to do, because yeah, don't sell your winners for losers. Yeah, but you do have to look at market cycles, and there's lots of money to be made with that. And for example, selling a winner like Ethereum today for a loser like a smaller coin does make sense from because these patterns have always played in the past also. That bigger coins pump first, and later smallers catch up a lot, and even go higher in percentage returns than the bigger ones. So yeah, that all makes sense. Then there was something else
with shorting of cryptos.
Yeah, so ideally, that's what you do at the top of a cryptocurrency, of any market that it goes into euphoria and bubble territory. Is not that you just sell it, but to zero exposure, but that you actually go short on it. That's it's a tool that makes sense to use, but only if it's like if you have extreme readings, because the tool itself is a much more dangerous tool than going long. Going long, you can only lose what you put in. Going short, you can lose a lot more than what you put in. But it is a tool that can be very valuable, and actually it can be, you can also short by actually using options like put options, and thereby not losing more than you can put in. But of course, then it has extra challenges, such as you have to have your timing really right. Otherwise, it is also a very costly instrument. But in cryptocurrency, it happens every bubble that the readings go into extreme overvaluation and extreme euphoria. that is detectable everywhere. And so in such a scenario, going short makes sense, is worth taking the risk, especially if you look at the potential returns also, and the collapses are tremendous. Even for quality projects will lose 90% of their valuation. So that's all likely to repeat. That being said, if I look at my past track record, it's for me a bridge too far that I will likely not reach. In previous bubbles, I was able to sell from in 2013 from, let's say, I would have to look it up, but 99% exposure to 90% exposure, which was selling very little, as most early crypto investors do. They failed to totally sell at the top, and later then sit on and lose basically a lot later in the bear market. And it happened with me with 2013, where actually almost was at the same fiat value when the bear market was through than I had started with. Very depressing. That's when you learn, like, next bubble, that won't happen. I will sell at the top. And that's what happened with me in 2017. I said, I will sell at the top. And I went down from also 99% exposure. You're always at these extreme exposures, not 90%, but 98 or 97 or 99% exposure, like extreme concentration in a certain asset. So what do? You go down in exposure. Now I went to 70 or 75% exposure, basically only selling 20% or so, or 25% of my portfolio at the top, and locking in that profit, which was again way too little, but it was a lot more than in previous bubble. And so if I succeed the next time to go to 10% exposure, that will be a great accomplishment. And because it's so hard to do, because there are so many things you need to take into consideration. You have tax consequences. You have, of course, the whole infrastructure that you need to have ready. Bank accounts, exchange accounts, all these things are hard to get by for a cryptocurrency investor, or easily frozen and locked up and unusable. And the biggest challenge is the psychological part, where, yeah, you're sitting on tremendous gains, and then it's very hard to sell something because you think it's going to go a little bit higher always. And if you just hold on another week, you go have doubled again. And that's the biggest challenge to overcome, to take that very difficult decision when everybody is screaming and everybody is saying, and your own body and mind is also saying, hold, but what you need to do is sell. So that's the most difficult thing. And I fell again for, even though I made the great calls at the top of last cycle 2017, made great videos saying, guys, this is likely the top. What did I do with my own portfolio? I went down from 95% to 70% or 75%. That's the actions that I took, and that's what counts, and that's the most difficult to do. Even when you can see there is a clear bubble, even when you fail. Why do you fail? In my case, I failed to sell because I said, okay, I can only sell the coins that I did not buy with a HODL strategy. Because in the middle of 2017, I decided, like, you know, if I look back at my track record, I should have just buy and hold, and did all the different bubbles, just go through them and don't do any move. Just buy a coin and hold it for 5 to 10 years. That's what I should have done. And so I came with a genius plan that's what I'm gonna do. But the problem was my timing was off, because I did it in the middle of the bubble already. And so when I bought these coins, and that was at the time Byte Ball, and that was rebranded to Obyte, and also Bitcoin Cash. These two coins I had bought in the middle of 2017. And they ended up being my crypto exposure of 60-70% that I kept, and I only sold all the other coins, and that was only like 20% exposure or so. And so that's why I ended up with still 70% exposure, because I said, no, I bought them with the idea to buy and hold them, to hodl them forever, and so I can't sell them. And so I was a hodler, like so many others, believing in the hodl strategy. And it's only when the bear market happened and the year after, where again I lost not 95% from the gains that I made in the previous bubble, but I lost 80% of my portfolio compared to the top in 2018. I had a total loss of 80%, 80. And I remember so clearly, I was sitting there and I said to myself, my God, never in my life I will HODL again. Never. Like that was such a big mistake to hold Bitcoin Cash, for example. $4,000 was the peak. The bottom was $100. Yeah, it's wiped out. All by it, same story. And I said to myself, never again. I will fall for this this idiot investment strategy that is so widely promoted. And indeed, there is truth to it. Yes, you can indeed buy coins and hold them for 5 to 10 years. And that's the easiest. If you look at it like, oh, you have no tax consequences because you never sell anything. You don't have to follow the market because you just HODL. And that's all true. But in reality, it doesn't work like that at all. Unless for the strongest people that have the most conviction and like, but I'm not like that. There are some people that indeed do that, and they don't even share. They are these like kind of crypto billionaires or very rich crypto people, and nobody knows it about them because they live a very simple life. And they just buy and hold for 5 to 10 years, and they don't even talk about it. Yeah, some people can do that. It's not me. And then you have some other people like Roger Ver, for example, who believes strongly in a certain project and also doesn't trade the markets and just buy and holds for many years, maybe only sell some coins for some other coins. Yes, but that's also not me. It's not my quality. I realized that during that 2018%, in 2018, when I had lost 80%, I realized that I'm not Roger Ver, because Roger Ver doesn't seem to care losing 80% of the fiat value of his portfolio, but I do. I do care. From that sense, I'm more of a traditional investor where I measure my performance in fiat value and not in the amount of crypto coins I have, because that's real value. Like, yes, they are bad currencies to own and to invest in and to use, but they do measure the value of your portfolio much more correctly than Bitcoin or Ethereum. That's not a measurement of how valuable your portfolio is. How you measure that is in US dollars or euros, and you deduct 5% inflation. That's the real value that you have. And so I want that number to see go up over time. That's what I care about. Not the amount of crypto coins that I have in my portfolio. I don't care about that. I care about, am I a profitable investor or am I not a profitable investor? That's what I care about. And I look at my compound annual growth rate for that, and that's still 40%. It's still very good, but it's not 45% or 50% that I had only a half a year or a year ago. That's what I really care about, and yeah, I'm continuing to look at that.
Yeah, but I agree on the HODL strategy. So with a part of my portfolio, I was also like, yeah, I'm just holding this because back then I was like, yeah, maybe BTC will go into a bear market, but not the other projects because they are better. And of course, also a huge mistake. Lost also a lot of value there. Gladly I cashed out like 30% or so, but I think, and also that was the point where I said, okay, I will also never do that again, because that's like, when you can time it just a little bit, you are better off than just doing the HODL strategy. And also what I'm seeing as a problem right now with the HODL strategy is which coin you want to pick. And then of course the majority will say, yeah, Bitcoin or Ethereum. But if you really want to hold it for like 5 years, 10 years, so what we have seen right now in the BTC history, so from 2009 till right now, so that's 12 years. For the next 12 years, if you invest in Bitcoin, it will likely not repeat what it has done right now. And you don't know what is happening in 12 years. We could enter a complete bear market for also like the stock markets. You also don't know what will happen with BTC in 12 years. Of course, right now you can say it's the market leader, but you can see it's losing over time, and this is going faster and faster. And right now we are like putting the first domino to start, and the dominoes that are following are bigger and bigger and bigger. So this is moving faster and faster, and you don't know, okay, will BTC be a good investment in 12 years? You can say, yeah, okay, probably you will sit on a profit, but maybe it will not be the market leader anymore. Maybe it will be irrelevant in 12 years. You don't know. And the same is also counting for Ethereum. Of course, it's the leading smart contract platform, but will it be the leading smart contract platform in 12 years? Or when you say, okay, you have a project that you really believe in, which in this case would be Bitcoin Cash, of course you can say, okay, I'm doing my best, I'm working on it, I'm investing in it, I'm promoting it, but you still don't know if that is going to succeed. There is always the possibility to fail. And in case then you say, yeah, I'm just holding, and I'm also, that was also my point where I'm saying, okay, that was not wise, because when you are going for the HODL strategy, you're like this, and you see not what is happening right and left. You don't see the warning signals. You don't, there is something popping up. Yeah, no, that's not counting for my crypto. And you don't want to see it. You just want to see your project succeed. You ignore the bad factors in it. And I think that's also a big mistake and in the HODL strategy. And that's also why I would not go for it anymore. I've also done this in 2017. We'll never do that again. And I think it's also the wisest decision to study your project, to follow it. But when the time is there and the market is in a bubble territory, you sell that project, and then in the bear market, you continue to study. And when you see, okay, BTC, or Bitcoin Cash or Ethereum or whatever coin you want to invest in is good from the fundamental perspective still, and it has potential, then you can invest in it again. But there is like 99%, we have also seen this in 2017, 99% of the coins back then are not in the top 50 anymore, or not in the top 100 anymore. And some of them not even exist anymore. And that could also be your coin in the next bear market. And yeah, that's also something I really thought of when I have also lost like 90% or so. And yeah, but you have also talked about the fiat value. Do you also diversify in your fiat currencies, or did you have preferred fiat currencies? Is it just one or two? How do you do that?
No, I prefer to use US dollar because yeah, it's just it's easy, the most easy. The euro is a big currency, but in international markets, yeah, it's not so used so much. And for example, you want to see the fiat value of a cryptocurrency, as not so easy to find it in euros. Like all these websites will publish it in US dollars, and some even remove the option to see it in euros, like CoinMarketCap has done. So I look at the fiat value in US dollar, but of course it depends on where you live, whether you're actually having those currencies, or very often actually it's euros in my portfolio, but I express them in US dollars to measure everything. But actually, no, I'm also investing a lot via my stock brokerage account, and there actually I changed the base currency from euro to US dollar because it works so much easier. Because for most investments that I do via my stock brokerage, actually you do need US dollar and not euro. And you receive US dollar also. For example, when you I short GLD, I receive US dollars. So my cash position is mainly US dollars there. So, but I think that yeah, the big challenge will be indeed, and that's really what takes so much preparation is to prepare for the peak in the cryptocurrency market, so that you're able to lock in those profits and deploy them elsewhere in non-crypto markets. But the crypto market has improved a lot and has really allowed, has so many new fiat instruments, these stable coins, allowing you to sell crypto for, well, fiat currencies with counterparty risk. They are issued by an entity, but and some of them are very questionable, like Tether, but others, well, you have, what is the coin from USDC? And that's the stable coin from the American company.
Coinbase.
Yeah, Coinbase. So for example, that is quite reliable, I think. And if you study that market, you'll find fiat currencies that are quite reliable to use to lock in crypto profits for some time. And that's quite nice. But you still need to deploy them in other investments, I think. I mean, that's what I want. And often they are not there in the cryptocurrency market, they are elsewhere. And that's the big challenge, to get it out of the crypto world into the fiat world, you could say. But that's where the real potential lays also, because a bear market is brutal in crypto. Of course, you're in stablecoins, that's good, but there will be some slaughtering going on there also. Actually, it's much better to just have fiat with a cryptocurrency exchange. That is, these exchanges usually, the bigger ones, are solid, have good financials, won't go broke, and it's much better to have just US dollars with them, or euros, or your preferred currency, fiat currency, than have stable coins. But you can't even, are you going to sit the bear market out? There used to be a year, but it could become 3 years also, and just have fiat currencies there parked for 3 years. And also, are you building financial security that way? I mean, I really like to that I'm active in both markets. It really has made a big difference for me during the bear and especially early bull market in crypto, where I was able to sell some cryptocurrency gains for an investment like Tesla, that was really underperforming, and then was actually overperforming the crypto market, and allowing me then to deploy these profits again when crypto was correcting. Like, playing between these two has been my success over the past few years, and I certainly want to continue to do that. But for that, you really need to do lots of preparation, having good accounts with exchanges, with banks, and that's what I'm mainly working on right now.
What your goal is with the cashing out? So do you want to go to 0%, and what do you think is the chance of achieving that?
0% exposure in crypto, huh?
Yeah. So when the top is in.
Yeah. Well, I just think like it's a more realistic goal, but to achieve that, you have to overshoot, and you have to want to go short and plan to go short, and then probably fail to go short, but having succeeded in at least selling a very big part of your crypto. I think that's probably how it we'll see, but no, actually no, I do think I will set that as a target, just 10% exposure, for you never know, huh? But knowing full well I should go short, but it's just too much, too big of a step for me, that I can't take. So that's my goal, but that on sich will be a very hard thing to achieve, so yeah, there's going to be lots of work to achieve just that for me.
So, but what would be the number you would say, okay, that is likely that I'm going to achieve this allocation in crypto when we are peaking?
10%. I will go to 10% exposure. That's what I would really want to achieve. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so cashed out 90%.
Yeah, that would be a great achievement for this bull cycle. And then of course, if then this boom and bust cycle continues and going into the market again with this profits, I guess then probably you will just go again with like the Kelly criteria and invest. I don't know, what was the number you invest? The initial investment was like 40 or 60%.
You mean when I started in 2011? No.
Do you have invested in like March 2020 in crypto, or was it all from the past cycle?
No. Like in March 2020, that was with the Corona crash. Actually, like I sold all my investments, crypto and stocks, to 0% exposure. It was full cash, achieved, build done over the month before the crash, achieved right before the crash, but then started deploying the cash too quickly during the crash. And so I did during the crash see my actually portfolio go down still by 40% because I had started to buy too early. But I had done very, very good investing there. And then after that, yeah, my portfolio went up a lot in that after the Corona crash. And then during the rebuild in 2020. And I went to an exposure of, how much was it? During the Corona crash, I don't know anymore. I can look it up, but it probably was something like, oh yeah, I know, it was 64% cryptocurrency exposure and 36% crypto stocks and options exposure. That's what I did at the bottom. Which was the right decision, and also was calculated according to Kelly Criterion. That 64% was very well calculated, and took the priority also, like whatever I want to invest in crypto according to Kelly Criterion, I did, and then the rest went somewhere else. Yeah, that was very good. Before that, in the previous bear market, I went to 80% exposure to crypto in 20. I did that in the previous cycle with the collapse in 2014 from 2013. And then in 2014, I lost a lot, but I still went to 80% crypto exposure. And I was also timed 12. But now, since my portfolio has grown a lot, that was really not responsible to do that.
Yeah, that's also that's then also what will be very interesting to do then in the next bear market. So when we are seeing then the bottom, yeah. So I'm also looking forward to that. But first, of course, the main target is to get out of the market as close to the top as possible. Yeah, but I'm still confident that we will achieve this, and I'm still confident that we are still in the bull market for all the reasons that we have pointed out in this video. Yeah, and
I think that now the opportunity is indeed to invest in smaller projects, clearly, but probably linked to the winners like Ethereum. There's some long shots you can take, like Bitcoin Cash also, because I do think platforms is what it's about now, and smaller individual cryptocurrencies have little chance to succeed, but some are still can succeed as platforms. You have many competitors to Ethereum. Some of them can succeed, but it's going to be hard, of course, because Ethereum is managed very well. It has its certain big problems in transaction fees, but they are constantly expanding in transaction capacity, and since they are the leader, they can afford to be expensive while not losing too much market share. And these problems do get solved over time by them, unlike with Bitcoin BTC, where they have no plan to solve that problem and are not solving it. And so that's why I still think Bitcoin Cash has a chance to become one of those platforms that will succeed in the long run. They are also building now a smart BCH on top. So they don't innovate as fast as probably correct, but they are keeping up with the innovations, albeit with a delay, but they do have the great fundamental of being Bitcoin, well managed. So I still have good hope for it, and especially because there's a great backup plan that even if it all fails, well, likely shit will pump also, and there is still likely a great way to get out. I mean, a good chance that you can get out of the project, even if it fundamentally is weakening also.
Yeah, but that's well said. So I think also when like in the end, the real shit coins that have basically no fundamentals, like we have seen in 2017, there were like every day in the top 100 there were 1 or 2, 3 new coins that have just pumped out of nowhere and basically have no fundamentals, and then after this market cycle has ended, they've also disappeared again. So I think the coins that are lagging behind right now and even have good fundamentals, that they have even a better chance of getting a piece of that cake.
Yeah, and also indeed, like if you look at your buyer index and the fear and greed index, especially the buyer index, it's really an all-time low. And the fear and greed index looks bearish also, but overall it's clear that we're still in a bull market, and so and indeed the leaders have outperformed so strong, like Ethereum, but even BTC has, compared to so many other projects, and the fundamentals are actually not good at all for BTC, but even for Ethereum, like they should really innovate faster. Like the transaction fees are so high that you can't even run projects, decentralized finance on top of it. Like, and this is the biggest innovation, but yet you can't actually do it. So and with BTC you can't even do payments. So that's actually like also like makes it very likely that these smaller projects have a very good chance of pumping a lot. Other platforms, alternative platforms, have a very good chance to pump a lot. But even, for example, DeFi, DPI, I think if I try to be as objective as possible, protocols like that likely are going to pump a lot because they are actually diversifying over different platforms. They not only built on Ethereum, they start building on other platforms also, yeah, very interesting. Yeah.
Maybe a quick final question. So when you are what I've described before, so when you are taking a look at your emotions right now and then at the rational side, so from the emotion perspective, for me, it is also, I would clearly go with the bears. But if I'm taking a look into the rational side, then I'm clearly going with the bulls. And yeah, emotional side has to go away. So I'm staying with the bulls and the rational side. Is it also the same for you? So that when you're taking a look into your emotions, you're like, that's yeah, pretty fucked up, but the rational side is the side that we have to take a look at. So basically the question is if your emotional side right now also would go with the bears.
Well, actually, this for me the first time that I can say no to that, because yeah, of course I've been so distracted by other problems that I have not been involved in the market. So also not in the market sentiment, because usually you take these things from other people and their fear, you copy it. And so for me, I've looked from a distance that I've never done before to my investments in the cryptocurrency market. And then it's actually quite easy to see that what I had expected to happen has happened, that some things not, but yeah, it's clearly still in a bull market. A new all-time high was just breached again. Sentiment is very negative. Is negative, and it's confirmed with these indicators. But for me, like I didn't doubt like that the bull market was still on. In that recent correction before the all-time high was hit, there was a strong recent correction from what was 50 or 60K to 30K for BTC, and 2.5 trillion to 1.2 trillion. That was a very strong correction. But for me, that happened. I felt confident that that was not likely at the start of the bear market because of the indicators not being reached at all, and so actually, yeah, that was quite easy for me, much easier than in previous cycles to not suffer from this emotional this fear and wanting to thereby locking in profits and getting out of the market. And but in the previous cycle I did have that during the same period. I did have that in 2017. I did actually go all out crypto in the middle of the 2017. Wait, did I go all out? Yeah, I certainly sold for Fiat a whole piece and then went back in a couple months later. So, but these kind of things, they are not happening to me anymore now. So that's the good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's then probably the upside of all this personal trouble.
Yeah, and also for me, an upside is that I really have, yeah, I realized I've made some big mistakes the past few years. Not the biggest mistakes, I was actually not in investing. I've done very well, but it's in the choices to how I spend my time, and I really worked too much at the expense of my family life, my girlfriends and my children, and yeah, that's something that I'm really planning to change. Work less and also be less distracted by other things. Like I love learning. I love watching YouTube videos about all kinds of topics, but it takes lots of time. It's also at the expense of my relationship and my children. And so that's where I really yeah, hope to succeed in making a big change. And also I've put out many videos also about, or some about relationships, and I think I was wrong there, and that's actually the biggest change for me, that I've realized that yes, many of the points that I have made are about relationships and the dynamic and who's responsible for what, they are true. But the way I've communicated it was with too much arrogance, and of course I also made mistakes, and I'll have to say that as good an investor I am, as bad of a partner I am too, and that's really where for me the biggest change will come, and that will come also at the expense of my investment performance, because life is always always a trade-off, and you see that with many professionals that are very good in their profession, like pop stars, and the biggest pop stars, for example. I've always wondered, like, how is it possible that these people end up killing themselves when they are like heroes in the world, like Michael Jackson or Prince, or like people that die, they die young. How can they die young? And even suicide when you have such a successful life behind you. Well, because the truth is that they have actually focused way too much on one thing in their life at the expense of all other things, and that's why they actually prefer suicide over, because once the professional career is over and they go downhill, which is inevitable, then they lost everything, because there's nothing else there. There's no family, and there are no children. There's no relationships, warm relationships, and yeah, that's something I want to avoid. So I had much higher ambitions before as an investor, but I've lowered those and to succeed in my family life, because I don't want a life where very successful professionally, but then you don't have any. Your family life is quite miserable. I don't want that. So that's something, yeah.
Yeah, but you can that right now, of course, you realize that, yeah. But you still did a great job. So you're financially at that point where you can say, okay, I can lower my compound annual growth rates target. Probably, as you said, you can also outsource it if you don't want to do the research. But you don't have to like work all day, but I think also with you is the problem, what you have just said, you love it. So, and it's hard to when you say, okay, I love to learn, I love to study the market, to invest, and when you love it that much, that's it not feels like work, and then step down from this to do another thing that is also very important to you, that is then the challenge. So and I can understand that. So but great that you have realized that for yourself. I guess everybody, that's the personal choice of everybody. But I can just agree to that. So
yeah, and it also comes automatically indeed. Once you're financially successful, then you start to think about, okay, what's next? And so yeah, I wish that to everybody, and in the crypto world there are many young people that that will have that also. But there are also many that fall for the trap to continue to focus on that professionally and at the expense of the other things. So yeah, that's also why I like to share that, because that's important.
Yeah, I can just totally agree. So personal relationships, friends or girlfriend or women or whatever, very important.
Yeah, so thanks so much, Thomas. It was a pleasure to talk with you again. It was very, very valuable, and yeah, I wish you a wonderful time and good luck in this last part of the bull market, probably. Yeah, that we're going to start soon, considering how depressed it is now. Huh?
Yeah, thanks very much for having me. Glad to be on your channel, and also very valuable for me, and also got a lot out of it. I hope the people also got a lot out of it, and I just wish you the same. We will keep in touch, and I will also update you on the buyer index
yes.
when we are at the critical levels.
Yeah, so where can people follow you to keep track of the buyer index?
So yeah, first you can check out my channel. Probably will be linked in the description. And also you can, so there I post updates on the buyer index on a regular basis, but I post them daily YouTube. on YouTube. I post them on a regular basis, but there's also my Patreon account. There I post them pretty much daily right now, because I know everybody's curious about this, and everybody wants to see, okay, what has happened overnight and where we are. Are the buyers joining the market back again? So you can find it right there. And yes, that's the way.
And so the Patreon, you have to you pay then, like depending on how much you donate, you get more information.
It's pretty much like so there are a couple of packages. The first one is just for the Discord, so we also have a Discord group, and the second one is probably the most interesting one. That is where you get all the updates on the buyer index, market updates, and all the exclusive updates. And then I also have bigger packages like
how much is the second
when you
one?
Also 25 euros
per month.
Per month, yeah.
Okay, good,
and then yeah, and then there are also bigger packages like when you also want to have conversation questions answered, and that what also takes extra time for me. That's then of course higher packages to higher prices. But I think the most the most requested package is the 25 euro package, where you get all the updates.
Yeah. Great. Okay, Thomas, pleasure talking, and see you next time.
Yeah, see you next time.